Basically, TikTok has helped me confirm my suspicion that Airbnbs are moving away from their homey, bespoke origins and have slowly become more and more panopticon sex dungeons where you're live streaming a reality show for a stranger. I'm still gonna stay at them. I'm a big fan of Airbnbs. I find them cute and cozy, and I feel like they have a lot more personality than what you get out of a hotel. Plus, you can get a location that's actually in a neighborhood or next to a babbling brook, something that's a lot more interesting than the parking lot of a Marriott that's next to a Ruby Tuesdays. You know? But lately, TikTok has been making me feel a little bit more paranoid about the whole Airbnb experience. I've been fed a ton of videos where people go around discovering hidden cameras in their Airbnb bedrooms and shower heads.
Okay, so I'm staying at this Airbnb tonight and just checked out the bathroom and the shower, and check this out. This is ridiculous. Right in plain sight? Are you kidding me?
Airbnb's policies prohibit hosts from placing cameras in private areas, so bathrooms or anywhere that someone might sleep. Hosts are allowed to put cameras inside the home, but they're required to list anywhere that they have cameras in public spaces like living rooms and dining rooms. There are also all these videos where people use a dry erase marker and they write on the mirror and they show you that it is in fact a two-way mirror, ostensibly being used to once again hide a camera. Every Airbnb is run differently, and it's not always clear how perfectly your host is adhering to Airbnb's corporate policies. And you might not find out until they break those rules in horrifying ways. You should probably take everything we're about to say with a grain of salt because, embarrassingly, Andrew and I recently received our first subpar guest review after staying at an Airbnb, which is quite painful. But looking back, I should have known that when we arrived at our accommodations, there was a binder approximately this thick of rules and regulations and things we should know and checklists.
Welcome to our Airbnb. As a reminder, quiet hours start at 5 p.m. We have a noise detector and will ask you to leave if you play any music or snore too loud. When you check out, please take out the trash, mop the floors, wash the dishes, do all the laundry, and make the beds. There are cameras in the living room, kitchen, and bathroom. We're even watching you right now. Checkout is at 9 a.m. sharp. If you are here at 9:01, you will be charged an extra night. We hope you enjoy your stay.
We got the feedback from the host that we had in fact failed to put towels where we were supposed to put them. And then we had also moved a chair, which upset them.
I didn't know you couldn't move a chair.
Well, you didn't read the binder. But what gave it away that they were professional Airbnb people. This was an Airbnb being run as a business and not so much When you wiggle the camera around, it looks weird. And there were postcards that were specifically made for that cottage.
They branded it.
They branded it. It was fully branded. What Andrew and I think a lot of Airbnb guests have come to increasingly resent is the fact that you pay a cleaning fee. In our case, it was around $100, and there's still little chores that you're expected to do on the way out. But when I'm paying you to clean, I don't understand what that fee is going toward, if not putting towels where they need to go. Based on what I've seen on TikTok, a lot of people agree with me.
30,000?
There is still an element of uncertainty that goes along with Airbnbs. You're opening yourself up to the possibility that your host is just this weirdo.
It's how to spot hidden cameras in an Airbnb or hotel. Now, the first thing you're going to want to look for is devices that are conveniently placed where a creeper would want to look. Take this fire alarm for instance, it's placed right above the bed. Now, one way to see if a device is a camera is to shine a bright light at it. If you hit a camera lens, it's going to give a bluish reflection.
Wait a second. Oh my god. Is that a camera? Honey, I think they're watching us. Airbnbs also often have cameras at their doors, and that's pretty standard for Airbnbs, which is understandable. Like, you want to know how many people are coming and going. You're supposed to pay extra for extra guests, and a lot of Airbnbs specifically state they don't allow parties, so the Ring doorbell camera thing makes sense.
Who are you?
I'm Pam. Who are you?
I'm the owner of this house.
Oh.
Oh my god, you're gonna be so pissed.
Tik Tok, however, is bursting with people who say that they've found cameras in quite unexpected places.
Never checked around for cameras.
No, we don't care. You want to watch us bang? Get ready.
They're gonna see us.
Get ready for the time of your life.
What if they use it as collateral in an Nexium thing?
I don't care. No one can blackmail me with porn or nudes. I think I look great.
Okay. Spread my nudes far and wide.
Spread them. You got them? Spread them. But not everyone feels how I do. One couple in San Diego sued an Airbnb host after they discovered a hidden camera in a bedroom where they had been having sex. They're suing for emotional distress, invasion of privacy, and distributing sexually explicit materials. It seems based on the lawsuit that they know somehow that he was recording them for the purpose explicitly of distribution. His lawyer told NBC, every time that somebody looks at him funny for the rest of his life, he's not going to know whether the reason is because he was recognized from the hidden camera. That's where the harm comes in. In addition to all of the hidden camera scares, there have also been plenty of lawsuits against Airbnb based on their lax security policies and the problems that they've had in the past with background checks. In 2017, a French woman named Carole Escalier found a cheap Airbnb near where she was going to work in Silicon Valley. According to the Airbnb, she'd be sharing her accommodations with one other woman. When she arrived, there were 7 entire men.
It's the start of a whole category on Pornhub.
Funny you should mention that. Some of these men were gathered in the living room watching softcore porn.
Nice.
They wanted to keep that energy going, and one of the men talked to her while she was in the shower, went into the bathroom, looked at her showering. Miss Escalier eventually found out that the 2 men who were hosting the Airbnb were convicted felons. One of them had an old drug conviction, which Airbnb explained doesn't disqualify them from hosting. But the other man had spent 10 years in prison for kidnapping and beating the mother of his child. Which seems like the kind of person you maybe wouldn't want in charge of your Airbnb, which sounds like was also maybe a halfway house. Airbnb said, yep, he should have been flagged. Not sure how he got through. Sorry. We know that Airbnb has an issue with hosts being felons, having criminal records that should preclude them from being in the hospitality industry. And we know that because the hotel industry has funded this research. And it's like, what, are hotels perfect? Oh, nothing bad has ever happened in a hotel?
Yeah.
Come on. Then there's the worst story I found. Airbnb actually paid $7 million to a woman to settle a lawsuit after she was raped in her Airbnb. The Airbnb was in New York City, and she went to collect the key along with her friends from a bodega. She wasn't required to present any kind of ID. It was just the Airbnb had an arrangement with the bodega. Our guests are going to come here and get the key from you. When she returned to the Airbnb late at night without her friends, there was a man waiting for her. No one knows how he got in, but with such lax security, it's easy to imagine like how hard it would have been for him to take the key, copy it, come back later. I'm speculating, but it just doesn't seem that hard. And Airbnb doesn't have a policy about presenting ID or any kind of security measures in place for how that arrangement is made. And Airbnb makes millions of dollars in payments like these every year. They just want these stories to go away. Of course, you shouldn't take everything that's on TikTok at face value. I saw one viral TikTok that showed some women in Philadelphia discovering hidden cameras in their Airbnb. But then I read in a local outlet that police had visited the Airbnb only to not find any hidden cameras. Maybe they had just thought something was a camera. There was some little blinking light that looked like a camera that wasn't. Also on TikTok are a ton of videos that show you how to find cameras that are hidden. There are little gadgets that are supposed to identify cameras. Have you heard of this? Like camera?
No. Camera identify, like what? Like a beep, beep, boop, 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 boop.
Like a glowing
Stunt
light. It's probably nothing. It's probably just like a glowing colored light.
I don't know how you could detect a camera.
One thing they suggest is shining a flashlight into things like smoke detectors. They say that the camera lens will always reflect back blue.
One way to see if a device is a camera is to shine a bright light at it. If you hit a camera lens, it's going to give a bluish reflection.
Does that sound right?
No.
Okay. So, see, a lot of this might just be made up, and you might just be thinking you see cameras everywhere. Really.
Sometimes those have little infrared sensors and motion sensors and other things that could reflect any number of colors. I don't think there's a rule about that.
A lot of people now are finding that Airbnb is a useful source of passive or almost passive income. And now a lot of financial advice guru type people have taken to TikTok and YouTube to explain how you too can make money with an Airbnb.
Ways people are getting rich in 2022. Number one, Airbnbs. I already make a ton of TikToks about this, but you only need around $6,000 or so to start one, and they can easily earn over $1,000 a month in passive income.
Today, this is my brand new Airbnb property that'll make me $15,000 per month in profit. Let me show you. I put down 20% on this $2.9 million beach house. In the terms, I made sure that this house came fully furnished so I can flip it and put it on Airbnb within 1 month.
What's going on? My name's Brian, and I just wrote a brand new 56-page book called How to Become Financially Independent on Airbnb without owning property. Now listen, this is a game changer because it's essentially a way to become a real estate investor, but without owning any real estate and without having any of the negatives of being a real estate investor. So
one thing that they explain is that you don't have to own a property in order to be an Airbnb host. You can rent an apartment and then post that apartment on Airbnb. Renting it out on Airbnb generates enough income for them to profit even after they pay the rent. As the renter, you have to make an agreement with the landlord and tell them that's what you're doing. I'm sure there are plenty of illegal Airbnbs, especially in New York City, but that's what you're supposed to do. Of course, because this is a way that you could, ostensibly, I haven't tried it, make money. There are a ton of people now, not a ton, there are some people now selling courses. How to make money on Airbnb. I'm rich, you can be rich too. I'm not gonna do the thing, I'm gonna tell you how to do the thing, and that's how I'm gonna get rich.
There's a new little scam going around Facebook and otherwise the internet around the real estate rental arbitrage Airbnb space. And I would know, of course, because I've got my nose deep in that game. What I'm seeing lately is there are micro-influencers or educators that are essentially defrauding people who don't know anything about Airbnb and rental arbitrage and getting them to spend money on stuff that actually doesn't help them build their businesses. Lists, systems, blueprints, stuff like that. Really what they're trying to do to get your money, where instead of you learning for free somewhere like here, you're paying them $15,000 to $14,000.
It's the same old shit.
Just like that 10X guy. I'm going to tell you how to 10X your Airbnb.
We're going to talk about Airbnb today. We're going to talk about real estate, cash flow, online marketing. This guy has done a lot of stuff in a lot of spaces.
One of these TikTokers, Derek Chung, promotes the idea that to streamline your Airbnb business, instead of interacting with guests yourself, you should instead hire virtual assistants to do all the back and forth with guests for you.
If you're an Airbnb host still answering messages and calls from guests, I need you to listen up. You need to go on onlinejobs.ph and Facebook groups for hosts and go and hire a virtual assistant to handle all your customer service needs. This will free your time to focus on expanding your business and not get you stuck in the mundane tasks of the everyday of running an Airbnb business.
He's not the person that you're interacting with when you have a question about how the refrigerator works. But he does have a TikTok about how to keep parties from happening in Airbnbs. Parties are the bane of Airbnb hosts' existence. They think that they're renting their house to 4 people, and then 20 underage drinkers show up.
You're leaving because this was rented for 4 people, not a fucking underage party.
And understandably, I can see how that's an issue. So what this guy does is he installs a bunch of sound detectors in his Airbnb. So if the sound reaches a certain level, he knows there are a bunch of people there, and I guess he can confront his guests and maybe tell them to get the heck out.
But like, who do they think their target audience is? Like, absolutely, don't go to an Airbnb and trash it. You should absolutely pay a huge fine if you're trashing and destroying Airbnbs, yes. But at this point, Airbnbs are significantly more expensive than hotels, with more rules and no security. They charge you an exorbitant cleaning fee and then ask you to do chores. And now you can't gather? Why the hell would I get an Airbnb for 5, 10, 15, 20 people if we can't gather?
And I have a theory that this cottage industry of small businesses running Airbnbs like a series of hotels is behind what I've been noticing in Airbnbs as a whole. I've been finding them to be more kind of the cold, impersonal spaces that, you know, you could find at a mid-range hotel. In conclusion, I just feel like Airbnbs are losing a little bit of the magic that is what drew me to them in the first place, while at the same time maintaining the same checkout list and rules that you would expect someone to impose if you were actually staying at their actual home. Basically, TikTok has helped me confirm my suspicion that Airbnbs are moving away from their homey, bespoke origins and have slowly become more and more panopticon sex dungeons where you're live streaming a reality show for a stranger. I'm still gonna stay at them. I think it'll be fun to look for cameras the next time we stay at an Airbnb.
Yeah.
A little Easter egg hunt. And also, like I said, are hotels perfectly safe? No. Keep in mind, when you book an Airbnb, you might not be dealing with the person that Airbnb says you're dealing with. But if anything horrible happens, Airbnb is eager to pay you to shut up. So that's a plus. They have it in the budget. That's the most we can hope for in 2022. It's in there. Cut!